Welcome everyone to Bass Science. Today, I'm going to be focusing on my go-to bait casting setup. The rod, the reel, the line, and the baits that I like to throw on this setup. This is all my opinion. It's nothing official or anything. It's just what I like to use. And I'd like to just say, I have no sponsorships from anyone. The baits and the brands I use is just because I think they're the best in the game. And that's what gives me the best chance to catch the fish I catch. So, first off, let's start with the rod. This rod is the Guggen Go-To. I have not yet tried the Gold Series on the Guggen line of rods, but I really like this rod. It has the ruler on the side. It is a 7-foot medium heavy. It has a fast action. And the cool thing about this rod, which if you're starting fishing, I guess if you want to go some cheaper stuff, that might be the only drawback from this, but you might not understand 7-foot medium heavy fast action. Well, look. If you're throwing a crankbait or any reaction bait, it says it's pretty good for throwing reaction baits, pretty good for twitch baits, pretty good for muscle baits, and all right for finesse baits. I mean, I might try to stay away from them, but if it's like you're fishing a really high pressured area and you're only bringing this go-to setup, you might be able to throw a drop shot on it. It just is not going to be the best for it. And that also depends on the reel you're using. So with this setup, I would say probably stay away from drop shots and Ned rigs and that kind of area and focus more on, like, this would be, I mean, maybe not my wintertime go-to setup, but it would definitely be my all other times of the year. I pick it up and ready to go fishing. Next, I'm going to go with the reel. This is a 7:3-to-1 gear ratio, 13 fishing Inception Sport Z with 17-pound fluorocarbon on there. I believe this is Berkeley Vanish. This reel is probably my favorite reel I've ever used. I'm excited. I'm going to try the SLX DC soon. I'm excited to kind of compare these, see which one I like more. But this is a fantastic reel. It's $150, and these are like the foam grips I really like. I haven't had any problems with it. Mine's a little dirty because I've been fishing a lot with it recently. And 17-pound fluorocarbon. I chose 17 because I can throw a crankbait with 15. I can also, if I'm like with a Texas rig crawl, like the Guggen Bandito Bug or the Guggen Kraken Craw, both I really like. But it's heavy enough that I can throw those baits too on a Texas rig. So I'm going to now go into the baits I would throw. First off, I am going to say my all-time favorite bait, the Guggen Squad Zinger. I prefer the all-white color, just the natural shad. If I'm throwing a bluegill impression, maybe I'd throw a swim bait or I would throw a chatterbait. And the trailers I use, and I know some people stay away from soft plastic swim baits because they think it makes the bait roll over the slightest bit, but I actually like to use the 3.3-inch Saucy Swimmer. And I actually think the small ones, the 3.3, because I'm not using the 3.8s or anything, but the 3.3 this spinnerbait, the 3/8 ounce, maybe it adds a little bit of roll, but to me that makes it look like it's a dying bait fish. And that's what like the jerk bait is supposed to look like. So I can kind of get two different presentations. And if I don't want any rollover, I could throw the Guggen Dragon Drop on it, or you could even throw a little white stick bait. But my go-to trailer are these Saucy Swimmers, and specifically in the Sexy Shimmer color. They match up perfectly with this white spinnerbait, and it is just unstoppable. You can catch fish on this one after the other and after the other. Next bait, the Guggen Squad Mondo Worm. Specifically in the 7 1/4 inch. And I prefer watermelon red. It works everywhere. Sometimes I like it more than it's more versatile than a green pumpkin. I know green pumpkin you could throw in murky water, but the red flake, it's almost like the blue flake in black and blue flake. So I prefer watermelon red over green pumpkin. That's just my preference, my opinion. And the terminal tackle I use, Guggen made their new line of terminal tackle, and they do have like the Kraken wide gap hook and the Mondo EWG. But I found like that the straight shank hook, even though you might not get the best hookup ratio, it gets the best action for the little tail on the Mondo worm. And the weights I use, I might use 1/8 ounce if I'm fishing really like shallow stuff, but I prefer to use 3/16 ounce because I can go to fish up to 10 foot of water. But the Mondo worm, it's so hard to beat. Then my third bait, I know I could have put a craw bait in there, a craw style. That's why I included the craw color as one and the shad color. I like to use these for shad imitation mainly, but I do have two craw colors. I have the cash craw and then one other craw color, I can't remember. I think this is the sriracha craw. And then this is the shotgun shad. They crush these. This one has some weird like texture on it, which is insane. The color. I could have added like the Guggen Kraken craw, or I could have even added a jig with a craw trailer, but I kind of wanted to do a more, these are more like a versatile bait. I mean, you could do this high in the water column, you could do this in the middle of the water column, you could crawl this one on the bottom of the water column, and these are just so hard to beat. That is going to be it for today's video. I really hope you guys learned something and you enjoyed the content. See you guys next week.